The fluorescent lights hummed softly in the small toy store located in one of Madrid's working-class neighborhoods as Miguel Santos stood in the aisle, carefully examining price tags, while his 7-year-old son Daniel waited patiently beside him, occasionally glancing longingly at the colorful displays of toys that surrounded them on every side. It was 3 days before Daniel's 8th birthday, and Miguel had saved every possible euro over the past 2 months, working double shifts at his job as a night security guard and taking on weekend cleaning work at local businesses, all in an effort to accumulate enough money to buy his son the football boots and jersey that Daniel had been dreaming about since the beginning of the school year, when his classmates had started talking about their favorite players and teams. Miguel had been raising Daniel alone for the past 4 years, ever since his wife Carmen had died in a car accident that had not only devastated their small family emotionally, but had also left Miguel struggling financially with medical bills, funeral expenses, and the challenge of providing childcare while working the multiple jobs necessary to keep their small apartment and maintain some semblance of stability for his grieving son. The economic pressure had been relentless and unforgiving, forcing Miguel to make difficult choices between basic necessities and the small luxuries that other children took for granted, while always trying to shield Daniel from the full extent of their financial struggles and maintain the hope and optimism that a child deserved to have about his future and his place in the world. As Miguel calculated and recalculated the prices of the items Daniel wanted most desperately, a pair of Real Madrid football boots in his size and a jersey with Cristiano Ronaldo's name and number, he realized with a sinking heart that even after weeks of saving and sacrifice, he was still 15 euros short of being able to afford both items that would make son's birthday truly special and memorable. The football boots alone cost 45 euros, which represented nearly a full day's wages from his security job, while the official team jersey was priced at 30 euros, and together they exceeded the budget that Miguel had painstakingly accumulated through weeks of eating less, walking instead of taking public transportation, and denying himself even the smallest personal expenses that might have made his own difficult life slightly more bearable. Daniel seemed to sense his father's internal struggle and disappointment, and with the remarkable sensitivity that children often develop when they live in households where financial stress is a constant presence, he quietly suggested that maybe he didn't really need both the boots and the jersey, and that perhaps just one item would be enough to make his birthday celebration complete and happy. The suggestion broke Miguel's heart, as he recognized the selflessness and maturity that his young son was displaying in trying to make an impossible situation easier for his struggling father, and he felt the familiar weight of guilt and inadequacy that accompanied his inability to provide for Daniel, the way that other parents seemed able to provide for their children without apparent difficulty or sacrifice. Miguel knelt down to Daniel's eye level and promised that somehow he would find a way to afford both items before the birthday celebration, even though he had no realistic plan for generating the additional income that would be necessary to fulfill this promise that he felt compelled to make, despite its apparent impossibility. As they prepared to leave the store, empty-handed once again, both father and son feeling the disappointment of another failed shopping expedition that had raised hopes only to dash them against the reality of their financial limitations, neither of them noticed the well-dressed man in casual clothing who had been observing their interaction from a discreet distance while pretending to examine merchandise in the adjacent aisle. Cristiano Ronaldo had been in the store purchasing gifts for his own children when he had overheard portions of the conversation between Miguel and Daniel, and the combination of the father's obvious love and desperation and the child's mature acceptance of disappointment had touched him deeply and reminded him of his own childhood experiences with financial hardship and the sacrifices that his mother had made to provide for her children, despite very limited resources and numerous obstacles. After Miguel and Daniel left the store, Ronaldo approached the clerk at the customer service counter and quietly inquired about the items that the father and son had been examining, learning the specific details about the football boots and jersey that Daniel had wanted so desperately, and that his father had been unable to afford despite his obvious determination and willingness to sacrifice for his child's happiness. Ronaldo immediately purchased both items in Daniel's size, along with several additional gifts, including a football, training equipment, and educational materials that he thought might be beneficial for a young boy growing up in challenging circumstances. And he arranged for these items to be delivered anonymously to Miguel's address, with a note indicating that they were birthday gifts from an admirer of Daniel's good behavior and his father's dedication to providing a loving home despite difficult circumstances. The delivery instructions were specific and carefully planned to ensure that Miguel would never discover the identity of the gift giver, as Ronaldo wanted the father to be able to accept the generosity without feeling embarrassed, indebted, or obligated to express gratitude to someone whose own privileged circumstances might make the gesture seem patronizing rather than genuinely supportive and encouraging. 2 days later, on the morning of Daniel's 8th birthday, Miguel was awakened by excited shouting from the living room as Daniel discovered a large box that had been left outside their apartment door sometime during the night, with his name written on a card that wished him a happy birthday and expressed hope that he would enjoy playing football and pursuing his dreams with enthusiasm and determination. Inside the box, Daniel found not only the exact football boots and Ronaldo jersey that he had been longing for, but also a professional quality football, training cones, and a collection of books about football techniques and famous players that would help him learn more about the sport that had captured his imagination and provided him with goals and aspirations that transcended his family's current economic circumstances. Miguel was overwhelmed by the generosity of the anonymous gift giver and spent considerable time trying to determine who might have been responsible for such extraordinary kindness, but the careful anonymity of the delivery made it impossible to identify the source of these gifts that had transformed Daniel's birthday from a potential disappointment into one of the most memorable and joyful days of his young life. The impact of the anonymous gifts extended far beyond the immediate pleasure of receiving the desired items, as Daniel's confidence and enthusiasm were boosted significantly by the knowledge that someone had cared enough about his happiness to make such a generous gesture, while Miguel felt a renewed sense of hope and faith in human kindness that helped him continue his struggles with greater determination and optimism about the future. Daniel began practicing football with his new equipment in the small courtyard behind their apartment building, developing skills and passion that attracted the attention of a local youth coach who invited him to join a community team that provided free training and equipment for children from families with limited financial resources, opening up opportunities for sports participation, friendship, and personal development that might otherwise have been inaccessible due to economic barriers. As Daniel's football skills improved and his involvement with the youth team expanded, Miguel found himself connecting with other parents who faced similar challenges in providing opportunities for their children, creating a support network of families who shared resources, transportation, and encouragement while helping each other navigate the complex challenges of raising children in economically disadvantaged circumstances while maintaining hope and determination for better futures. The anonymous birthday gifts had created a ripple effect of positive changes that continued to influence Daniel and Miguel's lives for months and years after that memorable 8th birthday, demonstrating how a single act of generosity could transform not only immediate circumstances, but also long-term possibilities and expectations for families struggling to overcome economic obstacles while maintaining their dignity, relationships, and dreams for advancement and success. Unknown to Miguel and Daniel, Ronaldo continued to follow Daniel's progress through discreet inquiries with the youth football program, and he felt deep satisfaction in seeing how the young boy's natural talent and enthusiasm were being developed through opportunities that the anonymous birthday gifts had helped to make possible, while Miguel's dedication as a father and his willingness to sacrifice for his son's benefit had created the foundation for Daniel's success and happiness despite the ongoing economic challenges that continued to characterize their daily lives. Several years later, when Daniel had developed into one of the most promising players in his age group and had earned a scholarship opportunity to attend a prestigious football academy that would provide advanced training and educational opportunities, Miguel often reflected on how that transformative 8th birthday had marked the beginning of possibilities that he had never dared to imagine during the darkest days of their financial struggles. And he continued to express gratitude to the unknown benefactor whose generosity had changed the trajectory of his son's life in ways that extended far beyond the material value of the gifts themselves. The story of the anonymous birthday gifts became part of Daniel's personal motivation and character development, as he learned the importance of helping others and giving back to his community when he had the opportunity and resources to make a positive difference in the lives of people who faced challenges similar to those that his family had overcome with the help of an unknown friend whose kindness had demonstrated that generosity and compassion could create lasting change and hope even in the most difficult circumstances.